This lesson, welcome back. I'm Ryan, and this is my Adobe Illustrator Basics course for the University of Idaho. And in this lesson, we're going to talk about alignment and placement. First, let's look at aligning things using guides or the grid or the smart guides. So I've mentioned before the smart guides, and as you see, if I select something and drag it anywhere on the screen, you can see these green lines show up, and they kind of indicate where things are centered, where they're aligned with the top elements or the tops of the elements, things like that. And so you can move your objects around and align them to other objects on the screen. You can also edit your smart guides, and you can turn them on or off with Command U or Control U, and you can go to your preferences pane, which is again Command or Control K, and go to Smart Guides, and there you can adjust the color that you would like them to be. I would prefer that default, that bright green, because it's such a different color that I don't normally use. And then you can also turn on some other options, so the transform tools, and if you would like the construction guides, the angles and things like that. So again, that's the smart guides. You can also edit your guides and grid options in here. Go ahead and figure out what you like to see with your guides and your grids. We talked about this in an earlier lesson. I'm going to cancel out of this. And again, to turn on the grid, it's Command or Control quote, and there you see it. Also make sure when you do that you turn on the snapping to grid if you would like that feature. When the snap to grid feature is enabled, then you can align things to the grid, and then it's a little easier to align things to the same grid lines if you need to do that, or space them, and however you'd like to do that. I'm going to turn it off now and unsnap to grid. Did I do that right? Apparently I did. It was Command Shift quote. My class should be proud of me because I don't usually use that, so it's I'm glad that I remembered it. Okay, so that's the guides and the grids. I've shown a little bit of using those. Let me go again with the guides, and in order to get the guides I need to draw some guides. So I open my ruler, which is Command R on the Mac, Control R on a PC, and then I can drop a guide somewhere and then snap to that, align things using that guide as my alignment tool. There you go. I'm going to delete that because again I don't need it. Apparently I have my guides locked. Now I can delete it. So other ways to align things, you can select your objects, and remember, if you have the selection tool or the direct selection tool, you can hold down Shift and click inside an object with a fill, or if you have the selection tool, you can just drag a selection across them all. So the first thing we can do is align them. Let's align them to horizontal left. Well, before we do that, let's discuss the options for selection and alignment. You can align to the selection. That means these objects are going to be aligned in alignment to each other, or to artboard, or to a key object. And I'm only going to discuss the selection to align to selection and align to artboard. I don't really use key objects. You can, and I can show you that in a later lesson. So let's go align to artboard, and if I do that, for example, let's hold down spacebar to move my artboard. If I do that and align them all to the top, vertical align top, you can see it's the alignment to the top of the artboard. Vertically aligned bottom, they are all going to be aligned to the bottom of the artboard. So I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to instead go to align to selection and then align vertical align top, vertical align bottom, and you see that the bottom line is in alignment. Again, the top is in alignment when I use the vertical align top. If I could vertically align center, then all of the center points are in the same line. And as long as they're still selected, I can move them all together. And then the alignment doesn't change, it's just their position changes. The other things you can do with alignment are to align horizontally. So for example, as you can see, these three boxes are not in alignment horizontally. I can click this one to horizontal align left. I will need to undo that because they're the same shape. And then I can horizontally align right. I can change that to the artboard, and they're all to the right edge of the artboard, to the left edge of the artboard, to the center of the artboard. And if you have objects that you need to all align to the center, just do both horizontal align center and vertical align center, and then you will have all three of them aligned to the center until you move them away. So the other place that you can find the alignment options are if you have objects selected, and that again was right here, is the alignment window, which on a Mac is Shift F7. I'm hoping that it's the same on the Windows on a PC, but when you click that, you get this little, it's one of the tabs on this panel. You can shrink or increase those. You can also do the align to selection, the artboard, or you can distribute their spacing. And we'll talk about distribution here in just a second. So distribution, to distribute something means, first let's bunch these up so that they're unevenly spaced. Now if I hit the the horizontally distribute on the center, that means the center point of these objects are going to be the same distance apart. And I'm going to change that, make sure it's on selection. And horizontally distribute centers, there you go. If I horizontally distribute the right side, it's going to be this side is the same distance away from this side as this one is from this, and this, you see what I mean? So it's distributed evenly based on whichever point you use as your definition. So the right side, the left side, the center, and then you can also do that vertically, and for that I'm going to select these three, vertical, and since they're all the same shape, they're going to all, it's not going to move once I choose those. So I can also vertically distribute their space or horizontally distribute the space. So if you saw what just happened there, this one and this one were in alignment almost, and this one is way over here. So what this feature does is it staggers so that these three, they're all kind of centered but staggering, if you know what I mean. It distributes the space between. So there you go. This to this is the same space, this to this is the same space. Hopefully that makes sense. And you can again do the same with some horizontal distribute or vertical distribute space. There they go. And that just goes the other way. So that's the distribute functions. And next we will talk about arranging. Arranging objects will actually be easier if I get rid of some of these other objects. So I'm just selecting them and hitting delete. Now I have these three. So the easy way to remember arranging is you have things in front and you have things behind. So you have objects that are stacked basically on your artboard, and you want to move them around. You want to rearrange their order. So in order to get to the arrangement functions, you may just select an object. We'll click this big green square in the back, and then we will go to the object menu. Whoops, I must have deselected that. Click it again. Go to the object menu, hit arrange, and you see a few options. We've got 4 options right there that are available for this document. So I have bring to front, bring forward, send backward, or send to back. Obviously, in the case of this green square, it is in the back, so I can bring it forward either by clicking this, but you know me, and I would much rather have you focus on the shortcut keys. So for that, it is the command and right side bracket, and to bring it or send it backward would be command or control and the left side bracket. So as you look at your keyboard, you'll see those 2 brackets, and one of them is to the left. Just think left goes backwards and right goes forwards. So holding down command or control and hitting right bracket will bring it 1, and then 2, and now it's in the front, or left will bring it back 1 and 2, and it's in the back. And again, we have the option of going all the way to the front or all the way to the back. So command or control shift right bracket will bring it all the way to the front. Command or control shift left bracket will send it all the way to the back. So hopefully that will help you as you look at the alignment issues that we have with our arrangement issues. Now, while we are still here talking about arrangement front to back, one thing I want to show you that I didn't show you with the alignment tool is because it's a little more helpful to understand while you have an understanding of front to back and the stacking of objects on your screen. So let's choose this yellow square, and we will bring that one forward so it's in front of the blue square. And then we will select all of these, and you may notice when we talked about the options to select, you could align, or excuse me, options to align, you could align to selection, align to artboard, or the middle option is key object. So you select align to key object and then click the key object, and you'll notice before I clicked it, it was this doubly thick blue border around the and it's only blue because my artboard, my layer says that my selections are blue, and that you can change in your preferences. So anyway, you will see a double border. It'll be thicker on the key object than the other objects, and you can, while they are selected, you can just click whichever object you want to have as the key object. I want this yellow one because it's in front, and so it'll be easier to show you. So I have this yellow square, the green square, and the blue square, and I want to align all of these to the left edge of that key object. And so what you'll see is this blue square will align, it will scoot over to here, and the green square will scoot over to the right to this point, and you'll see that right there. Okay, so let's undo that, keep them as they are, and make sure that that is the key object again, and we'll go to the right edge. And so this green one will come over to this point, the blue one will come over to this point. So that's using alignment to the key object. And again, you can go vertical, you can go center, you can go bottom, and you can distribute. And since they're all aligned and pretty much in the same place, then that's what that does. So center and center. And now you can't see the blue object. You can see that rectangle, the blue one, is selected because you can see the selection around inside of the square here. But everything is aligned vertically and horizontally on the yellow square center. So that is the key object, and you can tell when you're using it because it'll have this little key symbol in there. Selection will have the kind of a selection looking thing if you're off and you can't see which you have aligned to, and the artboard will have arrows pointing out to the border of the artboard. I forgot to mention that part as well. So now you're caught up, and we will move on from the alignment and arranging to things you can do with the alignment and functions you can do with arranging things. So now I'm going to quickly walk back in my history to the point where I have all of those objects on the screen, and that was repeatedly hitting Command Z or Control Z, and that's the undo function. So what I want to show you are things that we can do with copying and pasting with regard to in front of and behind. So for example, let's take one of these squares. Let's get this green one here, and let's copy it again from the shortcut keys and the finger dance that we discussed. You can copy by Command C on your Mac, Control C on your PC, and then you can paste with Control or Command V. So as you see, that pastes that object right in the center of the screen. You would think it's the center of the artboard. It just happens to be because I have the artboard centered on the screen. So let's move the artboard off to the side. I will do another Command or Control V, and it'll put it directly in the center of my workspace, my screen. Okay, so that's paste. Let's bring, first let's delete that and go Command 0, Control 0 to bring the artboard back to fit within the window. I'm going to remove this and show you something else. So I have, let's pile up a bunch of these objects and show you something else you can do with pasting. So I'm going to paste in front of that pile. So I will do, actually I need to do one more thing. I need to move this pile on top of the existing square. It was here when I copied it, and you can see it's in the back. I've got all of these yellow ones and this blue one in front of it. I can paste in front of by using Command F, Control F on your PC, and as you see, it's in the exact same place. I'll move it so you see that where it was. It's in the exact same position, but now in front of the blue, all of the yellows, and the other green. So that is Command F, Control F on your PC to paste in front. So let's delete that one, and let's also delete the original green one. And so now there are no green ones in this stack anywhere at all, and I want to paste in back. And so that is Command B or Control B, and there it is. It's behind this furthest back yellow one, all of the other yellow ones, and the blue one, and there you see it's in the same physical location, but its arrangement is behind all of the other ones. So that's paste in back, Control B or Command B. Okay, so one other thing that you can do with pasting is to paste in place, and let me show you that. I'm going to create a new artboard, and that new artboard is not a new artboard, a new document. So Command N or Control N. I'll use the same settings I had previously, but I'm going to add some artboards because I want to show you something else with that. So let's go 5 or 6 artboards. And here is my new document with 6 artboards, all letter size, in that same layout as the previous document, just because of that's the settings I'm using. So paste in place. If I were to have this as my screen, let's go back again to paste, just general paste. So Control V or Command V, and it'll put it in the center of the screen. I don't want that. I want it to be in its place where it was on the artboard. So I will click the artboard that I want to paste it on, which is this one, and then I will Control or Command V. Excuse me, I forgot, not Control, Command V. I want to Control or Command plus Shift and then V. And as you see, it placed it in that same position. Let me go back to the original document. It was right here. I can zoom in onto that artboard by Command 0 or Control 0, and you see by comparing the two, the green, whoops, moved it, the green squares are in the same place on the artboard on these two documents. Now, what if you are in the situation where you have a logo or an element of a document or some piece of artwork that you want to be pasted in the same place on all of your artboards at the same time? Is that possible? Well, yes, it is. And you can do it either within the same document you had previously opened. So I could have multiple artboards on this document and paste them there, or any document that I have open, it'll paste them in the same place on all the artboards. Okay? And so what that is Command or Control, Alt and Shift all at the same time. You see on my shortcut keys, my highlight, that they're all held down, and then I will hold or click V, and as you see, all of them, every artboard has that same green square in the same position relative to that artboard. So that's all of the artboards at the same time, and again, that's Control or Command plus Shift plus Alt plus V at the same time. So let me clear everything. I'll do that with Control or Command A, hit Delete, and we'll do that again. Control, Command, Alt, and Shift, and V, and there they are again. Okay? So hopefully that will help you. I want to show you one more thing in relation to pasting in arrangement, and I'm going to close this document, not save it, come back to this document that I'm on. So let's remove this original green square because I don't need it now. I have it in the clipboard. I can copy and paste it wherever I would like. Let's say I want to put it in front of this yellow square, but behind this one, and in front of all these ones behind it, behind the ones in front of this. Okay, so I want to paste it in front of this yellow, but behind this yellow. Well, for that, I just select the object that I want to paste in front of and hit Command F or Control F on your PC. And you see now that yellow square that I had selected previously is behind the one I just pasted, and the yellow square I wanted in front of the green square is still in front of that. Okay, I will delete that, and then we will click our yellow square again. This time I want to paste it behind the yellow square. So I will hold down Command or Control and hit the B, and it will paste directly behind that object. So still in front of the one that was behind it and behind all of these ones that are in front. So in front, paste in front is relative to if nothing is selected. Let me show you. Nothing is selected. Paste in front is in front of everything. Paste in back is behind everything. Well, that didn't seem to work. Hold on a second. Nothing selected. Oh yeah, the reason is because I have, yeah, hold on. Let's delete it. Control B or Command B. It's behind everything. Click some object. Let's do this one now. Control B. Puts it right behind the blue, but in front of the yellow. In front of this one, Control or Command F is in front of that, and you can see it's a different object than the one that was behind. Okay, so that is pasting and copying, or well, copy is the easy part. Pasting in front of or behind in arrangement of these objects. And if you want to, instead of copy, if you want to cut the object, again, that's Command X or Control X. So you have that option as well. All right. That is the end of this lesson 3.1, Alignment and Placement, where we talked about aligning with guides, grids, and smart guides, distributing vertically, horizontally, and on key objects, artboard, and selection, and then also arranging and then copying and pasting in those arrangements. So that is the end of 3.1. Stick around 3.2. We are going to talk about groups, grouping objects, transforming groups, selecting within groups, and things like that. So thank you. Stick around. We'll see you soon.